you're driven, you're smart, you know what you want. But something keeps holding you back, and science shows it might be this one trait. And most women have it. You overthink everything. Replay conversations. Feel anxious even after success. That's not just stress, that's neuroticism, and it's sabotaging your potential. Before we go deep into this message, comment below which part of the world are you watching from. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the Mental Bite channel, and press the bell icon so you never miss a word of encouragement. This video is dedicated to Olivia from Portland. Now let me tell you something that's going to change how you see yourself and your struggles forever. Out of all the personality traits studied in psychology, there's one that consistently shows up as the silent saboteur of brilliant women everywhere, and it's called neuroticism. It's not weakness, it's not a character flaw, it's a biological sensitivity to stress that can literally run your life if you don't learn to manage it. When I first discovered this research, everything clicked into place about why so many intelligent, capable women I knew were struggling with chronic anxiety, imposter syndrome, and that gnawing feeling that nothing they accomplished was ever enough. This isn't about being emotional or sensitive. This is about understanding how your brain processes stress and negative emotions, and why that processing style might be keeping you from the success and peace you deserve. Let me explain what neuroticism actually is, because most people completely misunderstand it. Neuroticism is one of the big 5 personality traits, and it refers to your tendency to experience negative emotions intensely and frequently. We're talking about anxiety that feels like it's eating you alive, irritability that comes out of nowhere, mood swings that make you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster, perfectionism that paralyzes you, and self-doubt that whispers lies about your capabilities every single day. But here's what's crucial to understand: neuroticism isn't about being weak or broken. It's about having a nervous system that's highly sensitive to threat and stress. Your brain is literally wired to notice danger, problems, and potential failures more quickly than others. In evolutionary terms, this hypersensitivity kept our ancestors alive by helping them spot predators and threats before anyone else. But in modern life, this same sensitivity can turn everyday situations into sources of chronic stress and anxiety. When you're high in neuroticism, you don't just feel stressed, you feel everything more intensely. A criticism at work doesn't just sting, it feels like a personal attack on your worth. A friend not responding to your text doesn't just seem rude, it triggers a spiral of wondering what you did wrong and whether they hate you. A mistake on a project doesn't just feel frustrating, it feels like evidence that you're a failure. This emotional intensity isn't your fault. It's how your brain processes information, but it can absolutely sabotage your success if you don't understand it and learn to work with it. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something that's going to blow your mind about why smart, driven women are often high in neuroticism. Intelligence and neuroticism often go hand in hand, especially in women, and there are very specific reasons for this. First, highly intelligent people tend to be more aware of everything around them, including potential problems and threats. Your smart brain is constantly analyzing, predicting, and preparing for what could go wrong. This cognitive hyperactivity means you're always thinking, always processing, always aware of the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Second, intelligent women often have perfectionist tendencies because they've been rewarded for excellence their entire lives. You learned early that being smart and perfect kept you safe, got you praise, and opened doors. But perfectionism and neuroticism feed each other in a vicious cycle. The more you demand perfection from yourself, the more you notice every flaw and mistake. The more you notice flaws, the more anxious you become about making mistakes. The more anxious you become, the more you try to control everything through perfectionism. Third, smart women are often highly self-aware, which sounds like a good thing until you realize that self-awareness can easily turn into self-criticism. You're so good at analyzing that you turn that analytical lens on yourself constantly, examining every word you said, every decision you made, every reaction you had. This constant self-analysis creates a breeding ground for self-doubt and anxiety. Fourth, societal expectations amplify neuroticism in intelligent women because you're expected to be successful, but not too assertive, confident, but also humble, capable of handling everything without complaining. These impossible standards create chronic stress because there's literally no way to win. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't, and your neurotic brain picks up on every single mixed message and contradiction in these expectations. The result is that you achieve a lot, but feel like a failure inside. You have accomplishments, degrees, awards, recognition, but you can't shake the feeling that you're not good enough, that you're fooling everyone, that you're going to be found out as a fraud. This is how neuroticism sabotages smart women. It doesn't stop you from achieving, but it poisons the experience of achievement. Let me tell you exactly how this sabotage shows up in your life, because once you recognize these patterns, you can start to break free from them. First, there's imposter syndrome, which is that persistent feeling that you don't deserve your success and that you're somehow tricking everyone into thinking you're competent. Even when you have clear evidence of your abilities and accomplishments, your neurotic brain focuses on what you don't know, what you haven't done, what you might mess up. You discount your successes as luck or timing while magnifying your mistakes as evidence of your inadequacy. Second, there's chronic indecision, where you analyze every choice to death because you're so afraid of making the wrong decision. You research endlessly, seek multiple opinions, create pro and con lists, but you still can't pull the trigger because your brain keeps coming up with new things that could go wrong. This analysis paralysis keeps you stuck in mediocrity because you're so afraid of making a mistake that you never make a move. Third, there's over-preparing but never launching. You spend months or years getting ready to start that business, apply for that job, or put yourself out there, but you never feel ready enough. There's always one more course to take, one more skill to learn, one more thing to figure out before you can begin. This perfectionist preparation becomes a form of procrastination because launching means facing the possibility of failure or criticism. Fourth, there's overreacting to criticism or silence. When someone gives you feedback, you don't just hear the words, you hear an attack on your character. When someone doesn't respond to your email or text, you don't just think they're busy, you create elaborate stories about what you did wrong and why they must hate you. This emotional reactivity exhausts you and makes you hypersensitive to other people's opinions and reactions. Fifth, there's people-pleasing to avoid conflict, but resenting it later. Your neurotic brain is so sensitive to disapproval that you'll say yes when you want to say no, agree when you want to disagree, and accommodate when you want to stand firm. But this people-pleasing creates resentment because you're constantly betraying your own needs and desires to keep others happy. You end up feeling used, unappreciated, and angry. But you can't express that anger because it might create the very conflict you were trying to avoid. Here's what's absolutely fascinating about the research on neuroticism and gender, and this is going to help you understand why you might be struggling with this. Women consistently score higher in neuroticism than men across cultures and countries. This isn't because women are weaker or more emotional, it's because women face different social pressures and expectations that contribute to chronic stress and anxiety. High neuroticism in women is linked to lower job satisfaction, not because women are less capable, but because they're more likely to internalize workplace stress and criticism. It's linked to more emotional relationship distress, not because women are more difficult partners, but because they're more attuned to relationship dynamics and more likely to worry about their partner's feelings and reactions. It's linked to higher risk of depression and anxiety, not because women are mentally weaker, but because they're dealing with the constant stress of trying to meet impossible standards, while managing everyone else's emotions and needs. It's linked to higher cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, and chronic elevated cortisol wreaks havoc on your body and mind. But here's the twist that's going to change everything for you. Neuroticism also comes with incredible gifts. The same sensitivity that makes you prone to anxiety also makes you deeply empathetic, intuitive, and aware of subtleties that others miss. The same brain that overthinks also has the capacity for deep reflection, creativity, and problem solving. The same emotional intensity that can feel overwhelming also allows you to experience joy, love, and passion more fully than others. Neuroticism isn't something to cure or eliminate. It's something to understand and regulate so you can harness its gifts while managing its challenges. So how do you work with neuroticism instead of against it? How do you keep the sensitivity and intuition while reducing the anxiety and self-doubt? The first tool is to name it to tame it. When you feel yourself spiraling into anxiety, overthinking, or self-criticism, pause and say to yourself, "This is neuroticism, not truth." Your brain is doing what neurotic brains do, which is focusing on potential problems and threats. That doesn't mean the problems are real or that your anxious thoughts are accurate. It just means your brain is being hypervigilant, and you can acknowledge that without believing every thought that comes up. The second tool is thought reframing, which means asking yourself, what's another story that could be true right now? When your neurotic brain tells you that your boss's short email means you're in trouble, you can ask yourself what other explanations might be possible. Maybe your boss is busy. Maybe they're dealing with their own stress. Maybe they're just not a detailed communicator. When you catch yourself assuming the worst, you can deliberately generate alternative explanations that are just as likely to be true. The third tool is scheduled worry time, which might sound crazy but is incredibly effective. Set aside 10 minutes every day to overthink on purpose. Write down all your worries, analyze them, spiral about them, and get it all out of your system. But when worry thoughts come up outside of your designated worry time, tell yourself, "I'll think about this during my worry time, not now." This limits rumination and gives your brain a structured outlet for its tendency to focus on problems. The fourth tool is nervous system regulation, because neuroticism is fundamentally about having a hyperactive nervous system. You need practices that calm your nervous system and bring you back to baseline. This might be breath work, cold water on your face, progressive muscle relaxation, yoga, meditation, journaling, or any activity that signals to your nervous system that you're safe. The key is to have these tools ready before you need them, not to scramble for them when you're already spiraling. The fifth tool is embracing progress over perfection. Your neurotic brain wants everything to be perfect before you take action, but perfection is the enemy of progress. Start small, launch messy, celebrate done over perfect. Every time you take action despite not feeling ready, you're training your brain that imperfection is survivable and that progress matters more than perfection. Let me tell you about a woman I worked with who perfectly illustrates how neuroticism sabotages smart women and how you can overcome it. Sarah was the smartest person in her company, with advanced degrees and incredible technical skills, but she had never applied for a promotion in 5 years. After every meeting, she would replay every comment she made, analyzing her tone, her word choice, her body language. She would convince herself that she sounded stupid, that her colleagues thought she was incompetent, that she had embarrassed herself. This constant self-analysis kept her playing small, even though her work was exceptional and her boss repeatedly told her she was ready for more responsibility. Sarah's neuroticism wasn't stopping her from doing good work, but it was stopping her from recognizing her own value and taking the risks necessary for advancement. When she finally understood that her spiraling thoughts were neuroticism, not reality, everything changed. She learned to separate her anxious thoughts from facts about her performance. She started keeping a record of positive feedback and accomplishments to counter her brain's tendency to focus on problems. She practiced self-compassion instead of self-criticism. She developed a pre-meeting routine to calm her nervous system and a post-meeting routine to prevent rumination. Most importantly, she learned to take action despite feeling anxious, instead of waiting for the anxiety to go away. When a promotion opportunity came up, she applied despite feeling terrified. She got the job, not because she stopped being neurotic, but because she stopped letting neuroticism make her decisions for her. The truth is, neuroticism doesn't have to be your enemy. It can be your secret weapon if you learn to work with it instead of against it. Your sensitivity allows you to pick up on things others miss. Your tendency to worry means you're prepared for problems before they happen. Your emotional intensity gives you passion and drive that others envy. Your perfectionism, when channeled correctly, produces exceptional work. Your self-awareness, when not turned into self-criticism, gives you incredible insight into yourself and others. The goal isn't to become less sensitive or less emotional. The goal is to become more skilled at managing your sensitivity and emotions so they serve you instead of sabotaging you. You can be neurotic and successful. You can be sensitive and strong. You can be emotional and effective. You just need to understand how your brain works and develop the tools to work with it instead of against it. Your neuroticism isn't a flaw to fix. It's a feature to understand. It's not weakness. It's a different way of processing the world that comes with both challenges and incredible gifts. The women who learn to harness their neuroticism instead of fighting it are the ones who become truly unstoppable. They're the ones who use their sensitivity to create deeper connections, their perfectionism to produce exceptional work, their emotional intensity to fuel their passion, and their self-awareness to continuously grow and improve. They're the ones who stop apologizing for feeling deeply and start using that depth as a source of strength. They're the ones who recognize that their neurotic tendencies are not character flaws, but superpowers that need to be understood and channeled. The question isn't whether you're neurotic. The question is what you're going to do with that neuroticism. Are you going to let it sabotage your success, or are you going to use it as fuel for your greatness? Are you going to see your sensitivity as a weakness, or are you going to recognize it as one of your greatest strengths? Are you going to let your anxious thoughts run your life, or are you going to learn to manage them so you can create the life you actually want? The choice is yours, and the time is now. Your neuroticism has been sabotaging you long enough. It's time to make it serve you instead. So here's what I need you to do right now. First, I want you to comment below and tell me which of these neurotic patterns you recognize in yourself. Are you the chronic overthinker? The perfectionist who never launches? The people pleaser who resents it later? Be honest, because awareness is the first step to transformation. Second, if this message resonated with you, if you felt seen and understood in a way that maybe you haven't felt before, I need you to share this video with one woman in your life who needs to hear this. That brilliant friend who's stuck in analysis paralysis, that colleague who apologizes for everything, that sister who's achieving but never celebrating. Send this to her right now. Third, if you're ready to stop letting neuroticism run your life and start using it as your secret weapon, I want you to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon, because I'm going to be diving deeper into exactly how to regulate your nervous system, how to turn perfectionism into excellence, and how to channel your sensitivity into unstoppable success. Fourth, drop a fire emoji in the comments if you're ready to transform your relationship with your neuroticism from enemy to ally. I want to see that you're not just watching, you're committing to change. And finally, if you want to take this work deeper, if you're ready to stop playing small and start stepping into the fullness of who you're meant to be, I have resources and programs designed specifically for neurotic, brilliant women like you. Check the description below for ways to work with me and my team. Your neuroticism isn't going anywhere, but your relationship with it can change everything. The question is, Are you ready to stop being sabotaged and start being unstoppable? Because the world needs what you have to offer, and it's time you believed that too. Comment, share, subscribe, and let's transform together.